Hey y'all, good morning. So this is gonna be just a quick morning chat. This is about the BET Awards I was watching last night. I don't watch the whole thing. It was just on as I clean up, and I did see when Kirk Franklin won the award. The thing that I wanted to highlight about what Kirk Franklin said was he said, "Not enough people are passing the torch. People die with the torch so it doesn't get passed on." And what he referring to as a torch, as a metaphor, is a lot of people and generations within our community, and I can only touch bases on the African American community, the black community, is when we get jewels of information, we get taught information, we don't pass the torch. Or when we have ownership of something, we die with it. We don't pass the torch. Excuse me, like I got something in my eye, my eyes water. But anyway, so stuff like that is important. Like, we're in a generation now where we can learn to pass the torch, you guys. It's been happening too many times, and that's why too many of us are starting to fail. Even within today's society, I have people within my community, my family, my circle, will have ownership of something, and then it's a secret of how they obtain ownership. For example, if someone has a home, it's a blessing, but at the same time, it's more of the barrels in the crab. The crabs in the barrels was like, I got out, but you got to figure out how to get out. It shouldn't be a secret. It should be like, hey, this is how this happened. A lot of times, and it's sad because when some people in our community do help us or help each other, the whole world has to know that they was the one helping. So then a lot of times you feel like, I don't even want to ask for help because I don't want the whole world to know that I needed help. So then you're stuck in the same situation too. So like right now, I'm seeking help on how to obtain ownership, business license, everything. And I'm willing to be like, okay, let me tell everybody this information. But you barely have people that's like that, okay, you guys, unfortunately. So there has to be a change, because even within Puff Daddy's speech, Puff Daddy even suggested, he said, come on, you guys, like, we're killing ourselves. They're talking to the African American community. But then we protest when one person kills us. But we're a majority of our deaths are caused because of us. We have to change that mentality if we want to see growth, if you want to see a change. Okay, this is a true story in Chicago. There was two mothers protesting to stop gang violence because both of their kids was killed from rival gangs. So the mothers linked up and said, okay, your son from this gang, my son's from this gang, but both of our kids are killed, equaling the same tragedy. So they started to protest. Why all of a sudden the two mothers that were protesting and trying to unite the gang members was killed themselves in a drive-by? Does that sound suspicious to you? They don't want you guys to link up and to become unified because there's numbers in power. When you work together, the more you can succeed. Just like June 19th. They celebrate that you are free. They celebrate that you are free and say, you know what? It is a national holiday now that you are classified as free. But guess what, you guys? On top of that, they still say, we acknowledge that you went through some torment. We acknowledge that it was blood on our soul. But at the same time, you do not qualify for reformation. Okay? But any other culture qualifies for it. Think about that. Think about that. When everything was going around, when African Americans were Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Everybody kept saying all lives matter. Do not say that. We understand all life matters, but we just want to know, is there any chance that it will matter equally? But it can't until we start with ourselves. I'm just going to be honest. That's how I see it, right? And then when they said save the Asians, nobody was complaining about them saying save the Asians because the Asians was getting bullied because of the COVID. Oops, they might take my video down because of the disease going around, pandemic. But anyways, I just wanted to bring that to your attention because I thought that was powerful, what Puff Daddy and Kirk Franklin was saying, because it's true. Like right now, if you guys have young kids, start passing those jewels to them. Start teaching them knowledge is power, because you can take away somebody's car, but you can't take away someone's knowledge, someone's power. Okay, because I noticed that when you know something, you can do better. I noticed that when you know your rights, that you're not afraid to stand tall. The number one thing that keep people in bondage is lack of knowledge, I feel. Because once you know, like, hey, I deserve this because A and Y Z says this, yeah, you might not get it equally, but you can fight for that equality singular by yourself, by complying to the policies and showing them that you know it. And I promise you, things will work out your way. I know I'm just going off rambling. It's a rant. I just woke up with that heavy on my mind, because then we have situations where people will say, I never asked you for anything. And they think that is okay. That's stupidity to say to someone when you're mad, or to say to anyone that is your mate, your husband, your wife, your sister, your brother, I never asked you for anything. That makes you feel like the stronger person because you didn't ask for anything, but mentally stronger. But in reality, that's the weaker person. You have to be strong enough to ask someone for knowledge. You have to be strong enough to ask someone when you're down, I need help. Especially if you guys are in a relationship. Guys, man, I need to talk to you, because women not like this. When you need help, it's okay to ask your mate for help. And if you don't ask your mate for help, there's something seriously wrong with you. Picking this mate that you feel that you cannot ask for help from. You should be able to say, hey, I'm going through this and I need your help. Hey, I'm short on this and I need to borrow this. That's what your mate is for, a partnership. I was talking to my friends over the weekend, and the strongest conversation that I got out of this conversation, when she said she bought a home, and then on top of buying her home, she said, I couldn't have did this by myself, meaning she couldn't do it by herself without her husband. And I was powerful to acknowledge that I needed his help and he needed my help. It's partnership. It was partnership, and I took that home with me. Like, I'm glad you said that, because some women are not there to admit that they needed that man, and some men are not there to admit that they needed that woman. But they got their stuff. She said, I couldn't have bought this house without him. I couldn't have did this without. I was like, what? You better preach. That's nothing to be ashamed of. That's powerful. That's powerful. All right, you guys, talk to you later. It has nothing to do with our normal conversation. It was just something to say, community of African Americans, we got to do better. Please do better. But we can't do better unless we try to do better. We have to do better.